Hey folks, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your market watch and trends for a Tuesday, Ruby Tuesday, March 2nd. Hopefully you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner. And join us live today, Monday to Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel. I do a live podcast with the ramblers and gamblers of the Raymond Report, and we talk about all the games and we break down all the NHL, NBA, and we'll talk a bit about MLB come up season. And hopefully we can bring you some good information for your sports gaming needs. All right, what I thought I'd do here, guys, today is do a video, because when I do the live podcast, I start off with the SBI and I do the trends and all that, and I find it goes long into the show, and then the show, instead of being an hour show, it turns into an hour 20. So I figure, you know what, let's try to kill two birds, one stone type thing, and let's do the market watch and trends at the beginning. And if people want to watch it, they can go on the YouTube channel. I'll pre-record it, and then once we do the live stream, we can just jump right into the games. So I thought we'd try that today, and I'll talk about it today on our live podcast. All right, so what I do in this segment here is I take a look at the market conditions, just like I do the stock market. You know, like when you watch the Dow Jones Industrial, you want to see is the Dow having a good day, a good week, a good month. And it's the same type of concept that I take with sports betting. And what I look for, it's almost, the candles are horizontal instead of vertical here on the Raymond Report, a little unlike the candles you see on the Dow Jones or on CNBC, whatever. But let's take a look at how the NBA is doing this week, this month. And on the, look at this, we're bullish right now in the NBA. 5-2 straight up winners last night for the favorites, 7-1 on Sunday. We are now 12-3 for the favorites the last 7 days in the NBA, 65.4%. So we're a bit hot here on favorites. In fact, when you look at year to date, we're at 60.9. So the favorites are winning at a pretty high clip. In fact, 71 yesterday, 67 the last 3 days, 65. So a bit of a downtrend here on the favorites. But when you look at the year to date, that's why we're in a bull market right now for favorites. Now looking at the over-under, 6-1 to the over last night, 7-1 the night before. So, you know, the Raymond Report, when I built this system, I was always looking to say, okay, what's going on here? How come I'm just average? You know, I'm hitting about 50% of my picks. Well, what's going on in the industry? Parity. Parity has happened in all sports, and now it's to me, when I look at sports handicapping, I boil it down to three things. One, is there value in my selections? Two, is the percentage play in my favor? What goes up must come down. And three, those cycles. You got to be able to read cycles, short-term, long-term, and that's what I do with the Raymond Report. And exactly that. You look on February 28 on Sunday, 7-1 to the under, and then a reversal last night. And, you know, tell me there's no parity in sports, right? 7-1 on Sunday to the under, and then 6-1 to the over, and that's 7-8. So you see where everything, like Seinfeld used to say, right? Even Steven, everything comes back and boils down to 50% eventually. And you just got to be able to dissect it and analyze things and find the right cycles when you're doing your handicapping. And looking at right now on a 7-day average in the over-unders, we're in a neutral market. And one thing I do like to look at when I'm doing my sports handicapping, I want to see if the straight up favorite, if they cover the spread. So last night, 5-2, the favorites won straight up. But look at this, 4-3 for the favorites covering the spread, which is, you know, it tells me if you can pick the straight up winner, there's a good chance, about 75%, you can get the ATS to tag along with that bet. 7-1 on Sunday, 6-2. So you see how it just follows each other, right? So if you can pick the straight up winners, there's a good chance you can cover the spread using that theory. And if you use the Raymond Report, you know, the predictions we give in our forecast, you know, if you agree with the forecast, take that game to win straight up and against the point spread, and you will probably have a pretty good day. All right, that's NBA. Let's take a look at the NHL. Now, the NHL last night, 2-5 for the favorites. So the underdogs, you know, it was a weird feeling. I just had that feeling that underdogs, you know, I talked about it yesterday on the report, how the favorites were just winning. Look at this, 6-0, 10-4, 2-1. Had I listened to my own medicine, I should have, you know, played those underdogs yesterday. But that's the trick about sports handicapping. When will the reversal happen? And to me, that's where you have to have a knack of knowing and a sixth sense of when things are going to flip, right? It flipped last night. It absolutely flipped last night. 5 underdogs, one of the 7. And looking at now on a 7-day average, 58.1. Now, is the underdogs going to win today? Who knows? It's been a favorite season. Look at the favorites in the NHL. 65.2%, but last night only 29%. Maybe we missed the boat last night. That was our opportunity. The over-unders, it's been an unders market the whole year. I can't say it's enough. Look at this. On the year, in the 7-day average, 54.7%, 56 on the 3-day average, 51.8. And if you look at the last 2 weeks, 4-1, 3-2, 8-1. The overs, very rare you saw an overnight. Here's the odd overnight, 3-1, 6-4 here, 8-6. So you can see the unders. I think the unders is where you want to bet. It's like baseball. Overs were coming in last year in baseball. Unders this year in hockey is where you're making money. And the point spread. If you do bet the puck line, again, good night. I've been saying this. I know I sound like a broken record, but if you've been betting the puck line, you're doing all right. 6-1 last night. Unfortunately, on Sunday was the odd day. The favorites had the puck line. But look at this on the puck line. 9-5, 2-1, 7-3, 6-1, 5-1. Bet the puck line in hockey, folks. You will make money betting the puck line. All right. Let's go to the market psychology. Now, this chart here is I call the market index. And what I do in this chart here is when I grade teams, I look at teams in the standings. I see 3 types of teams. I see your alphas, your bravos, and your charlies, right? A, B, C. And when I look at the alphas, those are your high elite teams, teams above 60%. And those are teams that, eventually your teams are going to be in the playoffs, right? And then when I look at the bravos, so the B type teams, and using my military call signals here, that's where I get alpha, bravo, and charlie. And looking at the B, these are teams that are 50% to 59.9%. These teams can either go up or go down, or they stay in the middle, and some of these teams will either make the playoffs or they'll be just on the outside looking in, right? And then you got your Charlie teams. Those are your C-type teams, your bottom dwellers, and those are teams below 500. And what you see right now, you see 3 types of colors. You see yellow, green, and pink, right? Pink means they're bearish. Using the stock market analogy, these are teams that are either 2-5, 1-6, or 0-7 in their last 7 games. These are teams, low public psychological confidence, but they bring the highest rewards because no one wants to touch them. The yellow type teams, those are teams that are 4-3 or 3-4 in the last 7 games. They're neutral. So between you and the bookmaker, you're both from a psychological point of view. There's no advantage on the pre-concept of like, oh, I love that team, right? Right now, if I mention to you the Brooklyn Nets, your dopamines are going to kick in and say, oh, great team, I'm going to take that team. If I mention a team like the Houston Rockets, like, ooh, I'm not touching that team with a 10-foot pole. You see how your mind can go from bearish to bullish in 2 words? And that's how I use the market index here when I'm handicapping to see if I really, like Denver yesterday, to me was a B-type team, right? They were B neutral up against a C bullish team in the Chicago Bulls. But because Chicago was a C-type team, even though they were bullish, the C told me, don't trust this team. C is a team that you can't trust the C-type teams, right? They're C for a reason. They're below 500 for a reason, and that's why one reason I took Denver yesterday, because they were in a neutral market, and they're up against a C bullish type team that I thought were, they're just ready for the taking, right? And looking at the NHL, let's take a look. Oh, one thing I want to show you here with the confidence level. If you just click on the confidence level right here, and it's going to put everybody in the penthouse in the green, and then the yellows I call the lobby. And then, so here, everybody in green right now, this is what I call caviar and champagne. These guys are eating caviar and champagne because everything they're touching right now is going to gold, and they're having a good run. They're either 5-2, 6-1, or 7-0 in their last 7 games. And the Brooklyn Nets, look at this. They're having a good run right now. These are your bullish teams. And very odd you see a C-type team in here, but we see Washington. So be careful on Washington. They're a C-type team. They're not used to being in the penthouse. These are teams you can trust right now. The B-type teams, the A, and the C. Now, the C-type teams, so let's take a look at the C-type teams. You got Charlotte. You got New Orleans. Atlanta, I wouldn't trust Atlanta right now. Oklahoma, the jury could be out. Orlando, Chicago, Cleveland. Those are your C-type teams that are neutral right now. Now, Cleveland took care of business last night against the Houston Rockets, so you might be able to trust these teams. But these are teams, when they're in the yellow, they're neutral, and the bookmaker knew from a market psychology point of view, there's really no clear-cut advantage depending on who they're playing. And then here's the bottom dwellers. I call these the basement teams for now, the bearish teams. They are 0-7, 1-6, or 2-5 in their last 7 games. Indiana, Sacramento, Detroit, Houston, Minnesota. Out of all these 5 teams, what team do you like best to get out of the basement? I would say either Sacramento or, you know what, maybe Minnesota. Maybe not. But see, that's what I mean. These bearish type teams, they'll make you think twice but you just can't trust them, right? And look at that. There's C-type teams. Very rare you see an A or a B-type team in the basement. All right, let's take a look at the NHL. Now, going to the NHL, Tampa Bay, your top team. Now, all your A-type teams are here. And right now, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very rare you see 10 teams, 10, 12 teams in the A. It's either, 8 to 9 in these in the penthouse. But what you want to do here is take a look at the A-type teams and what kind of market they're in, what kind of cycle they're in, right? Remember, I talked at the top of the show what kind of cycle this team's in. Are they bullish? Are they neutral? Or are they bearish? Now, everything in green is bullish. So these A-type teams that are bullish, these are teams that are hot right now. Winnipeg, Minnesota, Vegas, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Boston, Florida, and Atlanta, Philadelphia. Those are teams that are neutral right now. So they can go either way. They can go bullish or they can go bearish, right? And then you got your B-type teams, Edmonton, Colorado, Washington, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Islanders, Chicago. And out of all the B-type teams, Edmonton, Washington, and Chicago are bullish. These are teams that are having a really good run right now, but I don't know if I can trust them right now. They're B bullish, so eventually, obviously because they're in a bullish cycle, public confidence from a market psychology is going to be high. But I would look for more of the yellow, B yellow. So Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Islanders, those are teams that I think, depending on the odds, could bring you some value. And here's your C-type teams. These are teams that are just struggling. Anything in pink: Montreal, Calgary, New Jersey, Dallas, Vancouver, Columbus, Buffalo. So any of those teams I mentioned right there, they're low confidence from a public perception, but they bring the most value. Like Montreal against Ottawa tonight. Ottawa coming off a big win over Calgary. Maybe Montreal at home, but too much of a high price tag, $233, I think. So that is a high price tag to take on that team. All right, let's take a look at some of the trends here at the Raymond Report. And if you go to tools, go to days rest. Now on the days rest, if you click on the ATS here, it'll tell you the top teams against the point spread and on 1 day's rest. So right now, Oklahoma City, Utah, Philadelphia, Golden State, and the Toronto Raptors are your top 5 teams on 1 day's rest. Teams that are your best teams on 2 days rest: San Antonio, Detroit, New York, Philadelphia, and Orlando. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this is because situational handicapping, when you're doing, I believe in analytics, I believe in situational handicapping, and when you do situational handicapping, one of the situations I look for, like every athlete body is different, the team's different, the time zones they're in, the day's rest, recovery, and biorhythms, right? I used to know a handicapper who used to just solely base his predictions on biorhythms, and I believe in it. I believe when a team has played over like 3 games in 4 nights, 5 games in 7 nights, the body clock is just fatigued, right? So you got to find the perfect spot to either go against or with the team when their biorhythms are off and the body clock is tired. And these teams here, look at this. The San Antonio Spurs, when they get 2 days rest, they're 5-1 against the spread and straight up. So for some reason, they do well when they're well rested. And it goes the other way too. Look at OKC, 0-2, 1-4 for the T-Wolves, 1-4 for the Pacers. Let me see here, other teams. Toronto Raptors. Raptors not a bad team. 1-4 against the point spread on the 2 days rest. And then back-to-back games, right? How do teams do in back-to-back game situations? Right now, the Phoenix Suns are 7-0 straight up and against the point spread in back-to-back game situations. 6-0 for the Clippers. And those are two of your top teams. Utah Jazz, 5-1. They got that loss last night against the Pelicans. Chicago Bulls, 5-1 against the point spread in back-to-back games. And then you got your 3 games in 4 nights, right? Who are your top teams who are, in 3 games in 4 nights? You got the Portland Trailblazers, nice win yesterday, 6-0 on 3 games in 4 nights. In fact, they were, no, they weren't. Charlotte was on 3 games in 4 nights yesterday, and that did not work out for them, right? Charlotte last night, now they're 3-3 against the point spread when they're playing 3 games in 4 nights. Another thing I like to look at, in fact, NHL too, right? The NHL. So if we go NHL, like Ottawa is playing a back-to-back game situation tonight. Let's see how they do in back-to-back games. And Ottawa Senators right now 0-2 in back-to-back game situations. Toronto's 3-0. They're the top team. And 3 games in 4 nights. Who are the top teams playing 3 games in 4 nights? Toronto Maple Leafs 4-0. Edmonton Oilers 5-1. Winnipeg Jets 4-1. And I think Winnipeg plays again tonight. So keep an eye out for these 4 teams right here. In Carolina, 4-2 when they're playing 3 games in 4 nights. And, what do all these teams have in common? winning record here, winning record there, losing. Well, actually, they're winning, but they're on a losing streak right now, and other two teams that are winning. So always look for the common denominator when you're doing these type of situational handicapping. See what always comes up, and winning. Winning solves everything, right? Temporarily. You can have winning teams. I've coached winning teams that didn't have a lot of good chemistry on them, but at the end of the day, athletes, the athletes win games. Coaching, it's like leading the horse to water. It's up to them to decide if they want to drink, right? But the same thing with athletes win games. That's the bottom line. More stats here. ATS Team Trends. Let's take a look at the ATS Team Trends, and let's go to NBA. And let's take a look at the top 5 teams against the point spread this year. Utah Jazz 26-9 against the spread. Phoenix Suns 21-11. LA Clippers 21-15. And New York Knicks 20-15 and 19-17 for the Brooklyn Nets, and Oklahoma City Thunder with 19 wins against the spread also. So those are your top 6 teams on the point spread. Now your top teams against the spread at home: Utah Jazz 15-2, Golden State 11-7, so is Philly and Milwaukee, and then you got Clippers in Boston, Phoenix, New York, and the Brooklyn Nets rounding off the top 10 here of teams at home with the best ATS record. And the best ATS team on the road, your top 2 teams, Portland and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder again. But Billy Donovan was there last year, and we're Chicago. There's the Dono right there, 11-4 against the point spread. Billy Donovan, you know what? Keep an eye on that guy. He's a bettor's best friend on average teams, right? All right, and your last thing we're going to look at here, guys, is the 80% club. This is one of my favorite stats. I got 2 80% clubs, the old 80% club and the new one. Let's take a look at some of the stats here on the 80% club. When the New York Knicks are at home or road this season and they won their last game by 19 points or less, 2-10-1 to the under. And let me see if I got any more good stats up here. I'd like to take the over-unders or the straight-up trends. Those are the ones I really like. Memphis is a road team before a non-conference game on 1 day's rest, and they're coming off a 20 or more point win. Only 3-7 in their straight up, but 2-8 to the under. So if you like the total here, there's a nice one to the under right there. And let's go back to the 80% club, and let's take a look at the top 5 of the new version of the 80% club. So let's go 80% club right here. Let's go to NBA. And let's see what we have in store here today on the Raymond Report. All right, the Spurs 13-1 straight up as a home team when they're on a Tuesday the last 4 years, so 92.8%. The Boston Celtics 12-1 to the under as a 0 to 3 point home dog, and they're coming off an Eastern Conference opponent the last 7 years. Wow, the under is that's a nice trend to the under right here. So almost the same situation. The Bucks are 12-1, coming off they're 12-1 straight up at home, coming off a Pacific Division opponent the last 6 years. So a nice spot here for the Bucks. Another one here for the Spurs we talked about. Let me take a look. The Lakers here, 9-1 straight up as a pick'em to -3 home favorite, and they're coming off 3 unders since 1996. Wow, check that out. The LA Lakers are 9-1 when they're a pick'em to -3 home favorite, and they're coming off 3 unders since 1996. That's a 90% trend right there. All right, folks, you can get the Raymond Report each and every day right here at atsstats.com. So 18 minutes into the broadcast, and I think this is going to help if I do this every day with the show. This way the show won't run an hour or 20 minutes. If I can just get the market watch and trends out early for you guys here on the Raymond Report, then this way you can watch the show, and then we just go right into the matchups. In fact, let me finish it off here with a free horse racing tip. And let's go to race number 1 today at Louisiana Downs. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll shut it off with a horse racing tip. We have it all here, folks, at ATS Stats. Go to horses, go to tip sheet. We have all the tip sheet from all the major tracks around the world. And today at Louisiana Downs in the first race, it's a $3,300 maiden claiming race, 2 p.m. Post time at the Downs, 350 yards on the dirt, so a little bit of a sprint here. 5-2-3 in race number 1 at Louisiana Downs. Check out the odds here. You got some great drivers on these horses right here. Alvarez, 31% in the money on number 5, Doncha. 10-1 morning line on Doncha. Easter's Fools with Alvarez, the other Alvarez taking the ride here on Easter's Fools, the number 2 horse, 6-1 morning line. And then we got El Resortes, Candenosa on the number 3 horse, El Resortes here on race number 1 at Louisiana Downs. 5-2-3 is my recommendation today on race number 1 at Louisiana Downs. My Joker's wild selection is the 8 horse. And what I normally do is I'll bet the 8, like this is what I'll do. If I bet this horse here today, the 8, check him out again with Luna on the ride. I'll put 10 to win, 10 to place on the number 8 horse. This way he comes in second. We get some of that money back. And if you're going to play an exacta today in race number 1 at Louisiana Downs, 5-2, 2-3, 3-8 exacta box. And if you're going to go trifecta, 5-2-3, 8-2-3 trifecta box. Don't forget, guys, today's broadcast is brought to you by Streakcatcher.com. Check out what Eddie has in store for us today. He's on a 9-game win streak, and let's see if number 10 comes out today. And if you're interested in my top plays, my best bets, not a bad night last night. Oh, one, was it? Let me see here. I went 1 in, let me see, hockey was my free play, was Vegas. Then I lost my 2 hockey plays, but then I went 2-1 with my basketball selections. I had Denver, I had the over in Brooklyn, and I lost with Utah. And not a bad night in the NBA. And again, folks, you can get my top plays, my best bets at atsstats.com. And if you want all the stats that I just showed you, why not sign up for a 1-year membership, only $99, and you get all of the access to the website, all the tools, and hopefully you'll join us today live, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, with all the ramblers and gamblers, as my good friend G&G would say, here on the Raymond Report live podcast show. As always, for a Ruby Tuesday, March 2nd, as always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report.